Yes, guys, I'm Si. Welcome to Cardiff City World. Welcome to 5 things we learned from Cardiff City versus Ipswich. What a day. What a performance. What a pleasant surprise. But in fairness, I think that performance has been coming in recent weeks. Like, things have progressively got better. We've played a bit quicker. We've been a bit more aggressive. The wingers have been a bit higher. Not perfect by any means, but I think playing against the side that are as good as Ipswich are, and as I've said in the preview, and I've said in recent weeks, I said earlier in the season as well, Ipswich for me are one of the best sides in the Championship. They've also got one of the best young managers in the country. It was going to always be a very difficult game, and I was really pleasantly surprised because I got to be honest, I thought overall we absolutely deserved a draw. And maybe in the balance of things, particularly for the second half performance and coming back and not letting the heads go, conceding a goal quite late on, I just thought we were just really, really good. And we'll break it all down. We'll talk about the different things. But as always, like to hear your opinions and stuff like that. A bit of a nothing game next week, but hopefully the season will start. We'll finish with a bang. Not much on it. It's going to be fun. Fuck them. Not everyone can go to Bristol. They're 7-side rivals and beat them. Not everyone can do that. Not everyone wants to do that today. So there we go. So let's talk about it. There's lots to discuss. It's going to be a fun one. Cardiff City 2. Number 1 for me, Phillips is an absolute Rolls Royce of a defender. And I'm going to I want to wrap this up into contracts because there's a few players I want to talk about. So I'm going to start off with Nat Phillips is an absolute Rolls Royce of a defender. And he absolutely, if with him being out of contract, if we can find a way for him to like half his wages, because I would pay him 40 grand a week because I think he's that good. If we could find a way to 30 grand a week, sorry, because I think I've heard he's on I've heard a few different things, 60 grand, 85 grand a week, both way outside of Cardiff's remit. But if there's any way, particularly if he's playing week in, week out, and he's enjoying his football, there's more likeliness that he might want to stay at the club and build something with this manager if this manager stays. So let's try and work out a way. But in terms of performance, barely put a foot wrong. Positionally, he was very, very good. On the ball, sensational. And I was worried when McGuinness was injured, or when McGuinness got that injury, of how we would cope because he had been that good. And I was still not sold on Gutas 100%. I think he's a good John Terry defender who will go and attack the ball and win the ball physically and that. But as people will know, I don't necessarily rate John Terry as highly as some people do. A good defender, a good Premier League defender, a good Champions League defender, but I don't think he's up there in the top tier. And I think Gutas felt like that to me a bit, very good, put his body on the line, etc. But maybe not like that really, really top quality in terms of his positioning and his on the ball. And then he had that ropey spell about a month ago where he just looked like he'd lost his head. And then as Phillips has settled, Gutas has settled. But I think a massive part of that is the keeper. I think when you look back over the season, the start of the season when Alnwick was there, the back four looked really happy and solid with McGuinness and Gutas and Collins and NG. They all knew their roles. They all did their roles well. They all knew where they stood. And then Runnison came in and it all kind of went to pieces. And then there was this chopping and changing. And all of them had their moments and became a little bit shaky, probably apart from NG. And then obviously Runnison went, Halworth came in, and you thought, oh, here we go. Alnwick's injured. How are they going to react? They're a bit shaky. And I think Phillips has been a massive part of that. But I also think Halworth has been instrumental in our defensive performances in recent weeks. They look happy and comfortable with him in the back. So I did say I wanted to tie this in with contracts and sorting out contracts. So yeah, this is something which I want to discuss, and I think now is the perfect time to do some of them. So we got an international break. We're coming off a really good run after the Swansea game. It's the international break, I should say. So like, I feel like we can really kick on. Okay, so like, if we're building for next year, we're building for the next season and then promotion and things like that. So we need to tie the manager down, give him a 3-year contract, get it done in the international break, so we can just it be done. Joe Rolls, club captain, get him in, get him signed, get him down. Because ultimately, with Joe Rolls, as I've said a few times, regardless of whether he starts every week, he is gonna play. He's a good squad player. Even if he's a good squad player, he's an excellent player. He can do a couple of different jobs off the bench. He can play, he can start, and he can come into the lineup and do those jobs equally from the start as well. So I think from that point of view, get Joe Rolls' contract sorted, get the manager's contract sorted, and then let's look at some of the loan players. You've got Grant, you've got Phillips, Bowler, Esperan, Wilson. Out of them 4, so let's start with the 4 of them. How it's permanent money. So first and foremost, let's start at the back. Wilson, Esperan. I would say the signs are positive at the moment in terms of would I want him to stay and things like that. And this obviously is my personal opinion. At the moment, I lean more towards yes. I've been very impressed with him. I really like watching him back, his defensive work on Saturday, his body shape. And he very rarely gets caught like the wrong side in terms of how he's facing up the defender one-on-one. And I think that's really important when you face really good wingers in this league, which Ipswich have 1 or 2. But I think it is early doors for him. He also might not be available on a permanent. It depends what sort of Man City want to do. But at the moment, I would lean more towards him. But I would leave it to the summer to make the final decision if they're going to try and get him on a permanent. As I say, he might not be available. Phillips, the big thing with Phillips is the wage. If you can get a wage that works for him and works for the club, get it signed yesterday. But obviously we'll have to wait for the summer in terms of tying it down. But I'd be speaking to him in this international break and I'd be saying, look, we're building something. This manager's staying. We're building something. We're going to try and get this club into the Premier League in the right way, doing the right things, playing the right type of football. And we want you to be at the base of that. You, McGuinness, Gutas, all good ages. So we want you involved. Do you think you can, can you be realistic? Can you come down with your wages, play week in, week out, get to the Premier League and make a career with us? If he buys into that project and he's up for it, then do everything but sign it. Grant, same thing. Carlin Grant, I know there's some who've been quite critical of him. To me, he's Cardiff's most consistent forward. Never lets you down in terms of effort. And I think as the season's gone on and he's really settled into being a Cardiff player, his performances have shown that. And I think naturally he's probably more of a centre forward, which is interesting because the manager seems to think that he plays better off the left. But I think a lot of his skill set and his attributes suit more playing down the middle. I would love to see him play up front with a good target man, or even, like I've said a couple of times, Ruben Corwell as like a number 10 or a false 9 with Grant. Would love a bit of that. But for me, Carlin Grant is another one who, if you can find somewhere in the middle to wages wise that can, the player's happy. And the one thing I'd say about Carlin Grant, if you go back and watch some highlights of him in previous years, where he's done a couple of these loans and at West Brom, he looks happy. He looks really happy. He looks like he gets on with the manager. The manager trusts him. He trusts the manager. He's got a decent enough relationship with the fans. He looks like a player who's enjoying his football. And I think when you've been a player who's been shipped about on loan and whatnot, sometimes the money's not important. It's being happy and happy to be playing week in, week out, and to be playing football at a club that, as you know, is building something. So I think Karlan Grant, if you can get that done in the international break, because I've heard that West Brom want him off the wage bill, so they might be open to doing everything but signing the contracts. So again, get it done. Get these things. Let's be proactive. Negotiate with them. Negotiate with their wages. Get them down so that you can go to West Brom and say, right, we'll give you whatever, or if he's on a free, even better. And this is it. Like, be proactive. So many times Cardiff are not proactive in how they go about their business in the transfer window and contracts and things like that. Most importantly, Joe Rolls and the manager, I would love to see those announced in the window. In the international break. The Grant and the Phillips ones is more complicated because they're on big money. And I'm not sure how long Grant's got on his contract, but obviously West Brom paid big money for him. So there's that additional complication. However, you say that, like, I've seen from a few different places that they want him off the wage bill. They're not interested in keeping him as a player, and he's on big money. So if Cardiff can come to an agreement with him on money, he's he's 26. You know, he's coming into his peak. So it's just whether they can come to an agreement on the wages and stuff. Because I would hasten to guess that he'd be up for staying at least, but I don't know. But he signed a 6-year contract, supposedly. Let's have a look. Let's see, Karlan Grant. Oh, please tell me that wasn't like last year or something, because that'll be depressing. Because then we'll be problematic. Signed a 6-year contract. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He might not be out. Oh, he's out of contract in end of next year, maybe next. No, 25, 26. What's that? Year after. So he's got 2 years probably effectively left on his contract, Grant. But you might get him, like, if they want him off the wage bill that much, and Cardiff can come to an agreement with him on his wages, like, you could do. But most importantly, as Reece has just said in the comments there, Cardiff, the first thing they've got to do is get the manager tied down, because you can't be expecting the likes of Grant and Phillips to take a cut in wages if they don't even know if the manager's going to be there. Because a lot of these players, they're buying into the project, they're buying into the manager, and if they're not sure if the manager's going to be there, it's difficult to sell the project then. So it's got to be, and this is what I mean about being proactive. Get, in the international break, announce managers signed a new 3-year contract, captain signed a new couple of years. Let's go, let's build, and then you can start building and talking to these players. Number 2, I'm going to go with the manager's tactical decisions, manager's formation. So again, the starting lineup, I wasn't surprised. It was pretty much what I said the manager would pick, with Turnbull in the 10 and Wintle. And look, as I said in my preview, I would have found it so difficult to drop Wintle because he was so good in the midweek. But I also I'm still excited, and I would like to see Turnbull a bit deeper and Colwell and him together. But Ryan Wintle, not only did he deserve his place in the starting lineup, he was captain for the day, and he was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Him and Siopis as a duo was just absolutely everywhere. And we really, we frustrated Ipswich, like really kind of limited their chances. There was one in the first half, which Kiefer Moore had, where he tried to backheel. I don't know why. He's in front of the near post. The ball comes across, and I think it's Gutas. No, not Gutas. It's just Phillips, because Gutas goes out wide to stop the cross. Cross comes in. Kiefer Moore's coming across the near post, and if he just wraps his right foot around it normally, the natural trajectory of the ball would have meant it would have flown into the goal. But for whatever reason, he tried to do like a back heel to catch the keeper out and hit it wide. And I just excellent, absolutely excellent. Ryan Wintle, Siopis in that midfield, and I thought the manager got it spot on. However, it is going to be majority positives today, pretty much all positives. I still stand by that there's no way Ruben Colwell should be on the bench, which I'll get to in a bit further. But there's no reason why he should have been dropped. We'll get to it in a minute, though. But Ryan Wintle, absolutely outstanding. Siopis, outstanding as well. Both just superb in that middle of that park. And we highlighted the midfield area of Ipswich before in the preview. And we said like what a vital area it is with Luungu, with Chaplin, with Morsey. So dangerous, that area for Cardiff. And we just locked it down pretty much for the whole game. It wasn't very, very much opportunities for Luungu to really dictate the game, Chaplin to get in those little pockets of space. Like we did a real good job of Siopis being in front of Chaplin and in front of Kiefer Moore and stopping that link-up play between Chaplin and Moore and the little 1-2s. And I really thought the midfield was excellent. And the manager deserves a great deal of credit for that, because it would have been easy to throw Joe Ralls in there as the captain. He's been in great form. But I think we kind of said, didn't we, that rest Joe Ralls from the start this week so that he can start against Swansea, because that's going to be being able to keep the ball and play the ball through the lines away from home versus Swansea is going to be very, very important. You need Joe Ralls for that. So Ryan Wintle was the man for the job this week at home. Busy, aggressive, and tell you what, one thing I will say, in the last game and a half, Ryan Wintle has shown a bit more technically, like in terms of his passing abilities. He had that beautiful long pass out to Bowler for the goal in midweek. And again, this week, good finish, good goal, and, just didn't stop. Number 3, Josh Bowler. So obviously, Rob took a bit of stick because he was not happy. Then he posted something before we'd scored about Bowler for the goal. He's kind of adjusting his hair instead of chasing back and the rest of it. But like, for me, the problem with Josh Bowler, I've been critical of his attitude throughout the season at different points. Pre-injury, I thought his attitude was spot on when he first got here. After his injury, I thought his attitude at times has been not great. And then it's been a bit better more recently. But ultimately, the biggest problem with him is he has a great first touch. He's direct. He's quick. He has the ability to be a top championship winger. Like, he could be one of the best in the league in that position. But he's not consistent enough, which is why he's available on loan, etc. Now, for me, I said to Matt and Rob when they were doing the show yesterday, I said, like, play him on the left or he's on the bench. That would be what I would say. He doesn't do enough off the right for me. And I'm fed up of seeing inverted wingers, to be quite frank. So I didn't think he was dreadful. I thought he was all right. He'd had some bright sparks. But I just think he can do more. And I think he could do more on the left, especially with Wilson Esperand underlapping or overlapping him. I really feel like he could be a dangerous player. But the problem we've got, or not that it's a nice problem to have, is that he's kind of, you never quite know what you're going to get with him. Well, Turnbull's settling in really well. Grant and has been consistent all season, still very good. Then you've got Colwell, probably shouldn't be on the bench. You've got O'Dowd, looks like he's never been away and excellent. You've got Mate had a great game on Saturday. You've got Jeju, looks like he's chomping at the bit after his goal the other week. I'm probably leaving someone out. Tanner as well. This looks sharp and looks game at the moment. Didn't even get on the weekend. We've got a lot of players in form in those attacking positions. So if Bowler's not doing it, he's got to be on the bench. Number 4, the centre forward position. Centre forward position is a really interesting one to me. I thought Jesus may get a start on Saturday after his goal because he looked really confident and sharp, and it looked like a game where we might need someone who can hold the ball up. But I thought Mate just worked and worked, held the ball up well, which has been something that he's done consistently all season. His hold-up play and his link-up play has been very, very good. It's just finishing which has let him down this season. But I thought he was excellent, and I thought it's interesting now because our three sort of central strikers per the manager would be Mate, Atete, and Jeju. Atete's out at the moment. I think Mate offers a bit more in terms of pressing. I would argue that Jeju maybe has a bit more about him finishing wise, but we haven't got a great deal of sort of examples of that in the current season or in a Cardiff shirt. But I think historically his finishing is very good. But Mate just works so hard, and we as a pressing unit, we look better with Mate in the side. So for me, big shout out to Mate. I thought he was excellent. Number four, number five, number four, I don't know. I'm not talking about Callum Robinson, mate. That's just not. There's too many positives to fit in as it is. Number four, I'm going to go where I think I've done four already, but we're going to go number four. We'll do 6 things. Number four, Ruben Corwell changed the game in our favor from an attacking sense. The ability to carry the ball is massively underrated in like the way everyone looks at these teams like Man City and Liverpool, and it's like pop, 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 pass, just continuously pass your opposition into submission. But that doesn't necessarily work in the Championship and different levels and different games. You need ball carriers. And 1, they take the pressure off you. But 2, no defender likes being ran at with the ball as they're backing away. And Ruben Corwell's close control, his work rate off the ball as well, makes defenders panic and rush, give the ball away. But also it's his, like I've talked about before, his physical attributes give him an edge to other number 10s because he's not your stereotypical number 10. And I thought everything which Bowler gives you, he gives, but more. He works harder, he's bigger, he's stronger. But I think he gives everything else that Bowler gives. Like he's direct, he's skillful. Really, really, really happy. And I said yesterday, and I'm sure people will disagree, but if or when Joe Rawls retires, leaves, whatever, I wouldn't be against Ruben Corwell being made the captain or vice captain. Not now, because he's not ready for that now. But if he keeps progressing as he has this season, like he progresses again next season, then I would certainly consider it. Because if he progresses at the rate he has this year, next year, he's going to be starting every week anyway. And he'll be in the Wales squad and the rest of it. Like that's how good I think he's been this year. And what people got to understand is, just because he doesn't score doesn't mean he hasn't changed the game. He changed the game on Saturday. He changed the game against Bristol City at home. He's changed a few games. He's scored a few goals. He's got a few assists. And as a team and an attacking unit, we look better with Ruben Corwell in the side. And second of all, I just don't think he should have been dropped, man. And it's happened to him a few times this year where he's got a bit of momentum or he's had his best game of the season and then he gets rotated. Now, he's not been rotated this time. He's been on the bench the last few games to accommodate Turnbull. I understand that because Turnbull is an excellent footballer. He's very good on the ball. He rarely gives it away. But I would still find a place for Colwell if that's, even though I would prefer to see Colwell in the 10, I would play him wide. That's how highly I rate him and how much of a difference I think he makes to the team. I would play him wide and still play him, or I would even contemplate playing him as a kind of like a false 9 with the others off him, if that was a possibility. There's a few options, but I would have him in my 11. And then finally, the match winner, the match winning winger. Oh, baby. Callum O'Dowda. The man has been out all season and he has come in and he looks like he has not missed a minute. He just looks so sharp, so skillful. He's so clever. Like, his positioning is just so clever. And, like, he missed an open goal. It was difficult because the one where he misses just before we score the first goal, it comes across at him quick and it takes a deflection. So it's like spinning, which you kind of didn't see first time around, but it is spinning and it takes a deflection. And that's kind of what causes it. He has to adjust himself in the air, which he does very well to do, and it goes over. But he takes up the same position again for his goal, just kind of hovers in and just glides into that little space, gambles. Jeju does exceptionally well for a little overhead kick, and O'Dowda puts it away. But Cardiff were just so very, very good, particularly from about 75 minutes when Colwell and O'Dowda came on. It felt like the momentum was with Cardiff. But even before that, we looked good yesterday, and I felt there's a few games where I've been very impressed with us for different reasons. So Leicester away, which was a game which I thought we were very good in. Sunderland away, I thought we were excellent in, but they were like away performances rather than the way we played football. It was just tactically very astute. Huddersfield away, I thought we were outstanding. But this is up there. This was a great performance. Every single player contributed. I don't think I can think of anyone who had a bad game. I want to see more from Bowler, but I don't think he had a bad game. Very quickly, like, because obviously I'll do a preview before the Jacks game and I'll probably think about it more and stuff like that. My starting 11 for the Swansea game as of now tonight would be Halverth, NG, Phillips Gutas, Wilson, Esbrand, Rawls, Siopis, Colwell, Turnbull, Grant, Mate. I think that's what I would go with. But that's now, that might change before I do the preview, in fairness, because I'll have a proper look. Actually, that's wrong. Ignore what I just said. I'm starting O'Dowda on the left, Colwell on the right. No. Yeah, see, I want, against Swansea, I want O'Dowda in the starting lineup. I want Grant and Colwell as your 9 and 10. So that creates a bit of an issue then on the right. Could Turnbull do a job on the right, like in that sort of Bruno Fernandes when they play away from home? I don't know if we need to do that really against this lot, but O'Dowda, for me, O'Dowda, Grant, and Colwell, those three start against Swansea. So that's what I think, but I think the manager might think differently. So we'll see, I guess. We'll see. I wouldn't be against O'Dowda left, Colwell right, Turnbull in the middle, and Grant as the centre forward. But if I was going to play Grant through the middle, I would play Colwell with him, like in the middle, like as a number 10, effectively. But I think it's clear the manager's not going to do that. It'll be Mate, but I think O'Dowda should start, and then you either put Grant on the right or you put Grant through the middle. But absolutely, Grant and O'Dowda would be in my starting 11s, just off the top of my head. Going to wrap it up there, but look, tomorrow night, Cardiff City phone in. If you haven't seen it already, please check out the vlog from Katie from yesterday's game. She caught both Cardiff City goals, and she's like in the second row at the Canton stand, so you get the full experience. And I got to say, sometimes video editing is not the most fun thing to do, but reliving her vlog as she took videos throughout the game and stuff, like reliving the game through the eyes of her in the stand, was wicked today. Really, really enjoyed it. And it's a really good vlog. She's doing such a good job for someone so young. Like, she's a kid, like, you know, and she's just doing an amazing job. So shout out to Katie, Emily, her sister, who does it with her sometimes as well. And of course, their mum, Donna. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Make sure you look after your mums. Reese's mum, in a bit.